After the film, we're going to have about a 30-minute question and answer time, and I think you'll really enjoy that. And these guys have given up their time to be here tonight. Got a very special guest, though, right now. We have the director via Zoom, David Beilinson, with us right now, and David's going to intro this film. So, David, take it away.
Awesome. So, good evening, Harrison. Thank you guys for all coming out. For such a small town, you guys really produced a bunch of football legends, not just in Brandon, but in Coach Tommy Tice as well. Pretty remarkable. And first, I just want to say that this project wouldn't have been possible without Bo Mattingly. Bo is an amazing producer and reporter, and his passion for Arkansas football helped give this film its authenticity. See if you can spot his cameo in the film while you're watching. And I just want to say I came to this film after researching football stories for ESPN about Arkansas. And of course, Brandon's story is the first one that comes up. But beyond his amazing life, I realized it was his legacy that had such a lasting impact beyond his death. And when Marty opened up his archives of photos and videos, I was completely blown away. Marty's basically a documentary filmmaker himself. And he chronicled Brandon's life as his older brother from the time he was born through his death, and it helped give Brandon a voice in the film. And Brandon changed the lives of his teammates, and the connection he had with Clint Sterner, especially in their time at Arkansas, produced a story of perseverance and determination that I think transcends sports. And that's what, as a filmmaker, you try and do. You look at stories that you can connect with people, and this is one of them. And his death, while heartbreakingly tragic, led Marty and Vickie to make it their mission to carry on Brandon's legacy and positively impact the lives of millions, ensuring that the story would never be forgotten. And I hope, as the legend of Burls continues to grow, that the film is one small piece that can be shared with people around the world. So with that, I hope you enjoy the film. And I'm excited that you all get to see it tonight before anybody else does too. So that's a special treat. And thank you, Marty, and everybody else who set this up. I hope you guys have a great night.
And I know the Burlsworth family is very proud of this piece, and I think it tells the story really well. And we've got some gentlemen and a young lady coming up that can tell the story even more. And Bo Mattingly is here with us. And Bo, was that you with hair?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Here, just flip it up. There you go.
I don't know how to use a microphone. I appreciate that. I don't know if that was better or worse, but
That's good.
I think we can say that for a lot of people up here.
Well, I tell you what, Bo worked on this film. So, Bo, tell us a little bit about what it was like to work on it.
Well, for me, I was starting my career in sports television, and so it was fascinating to watch the story unfold of Arkansas not being good, and then to come in and watch this resurgence in the state, and really Coach Nutt getting everybody fired up, and the state was really on fire for Arkansas football at that time. And then to see some of the characters that played out in the story, and to realize later, you go back, 25 years, and you look back at it now, we've heard so much about the 64 national championship team and all the success stories in business and life. And I look back at that team and these guys and Burlsworth and Sterner who were featured in this film, and it really does show you what character looks like when it comes to success and winning. And the selflessness of those guys and really that team, to me, I hope was really portrayed in this film, because I think that's an important takeaway and can be a positive difference.
Well, I think you did a really good job, and the interviews that you conducted with these young men, I thought was really well. Talk a little bit about what it was like. We saw there in the film you interviewing Clint, after the 99 when they came back and beat Tennessee. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was basically the same age as these guys. So I was around them all the time at practice, whatever, and I got to see Clint, have to deal with that for a year. And, he mentioned the emails, the voicemails, all that. And it wasn't just for him. I think he said it in the film. It was the whole state, felt like that it was a kind of a load lifted off at that point too. But I want to say this because I know you're going to go down the line here. David made a comment. He made a nice comment about me in the beginning, and I got to be involved basically because of my association with Arkansas and what I happen to do for a living. But this film would not be possible without Marty Burlsworth, who shot half the movie. I mean, did you see all those home videos? I mean, if you're a parent, you say, you think you're taking too many pictures. You're not taking enough.
I can speak to that because the room that they showed with Marty with all those VCR, I know exactly where that is in the house. And Marty, there's no telling how much footage and photographs that you have from over all the years.
No, I mean, it's a tremendous amount, and so much of it, Bo, that could have even been in the film. If we'd have used all of it, I don't know how long it would be. Probably about
now, we
3
have
days
3
long.
films on the cutting room floor. That was one of the hardest things about the movie.
Yes.
And I want to point out one technicality. I don't know if it matters. It may be in the weeds. But there's a couple of times something might have felt really redundant to you right in a row. It's because we cut out the commercial breaks for the film. So some of that is you're gone as a viewer for 4 or 5 minutes, and it gets recapped when we come back. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we talked about that earlier today, and tomorrow night when it airs nationally, those breaks will be in there. But no, Jamie is really good. I remember first talking to David, the director, about the film, and he said my vision is, he understood my background, that I'd been a professional photographer for 26 years, that was before I retired, that was the number, but during that time he said, you've got an archive, and absolutely, video, photos, and was blessed enough to know the sports editor at the Harrison Daily Times, and when Brandon was playing, and he asked, since I was going to the games, would I like to photograph the game? And yeah, I would. So I was at every game, a home or on the road. So that was equally a great experience for me.
Well, you play a photographer very well because you even play a photographer in the movie Greater.
Yeah, that was. I did have a role in that. I think I got a little check for that. I've not seen any other offers.
Have you not?
Unbelievably, no other movie offers.
Gotta get you an agent. Get you a good agent.
I think so.
One person that I know we're missing up here is Coach Tice. So, Coach, if you get a chance, we want you up here with us. I was trying to figure out who the empty chair was, and I was like, oh, Tommy's not up here. But Coach Tice played a major part, so we want to talk to him. Chad Abernathy here is with us, one of Brandon's teammates. And you and Brandon, you worked out together. And you usually worked out longer than Brandon, right?
Yeah, so the story with that is I told this summer, and I don't know if Marty had heard it, and it got around to him, so he asked me to share it. So just a little of my background. So I'm originally from Mountain View, not too far down the road here. Coach Ford then recruited me as a tight end / defensive end. So I came into the University of Arkansas about 235 pounds. In this film and in Greater, when they make Brandon lose all that weight, he gets down to about 250, 255. I've gained up to about that much and get switched over to the offensive line. So we meet up. They put us together in the weight room. Coach Ford and Virgil and I want us to gain as much weight and get as strong as possible. And we got after it and had some marathon workouts. And it's true to character. We keep saying how hard Brandon the worker was, and so the story is one day we would always finish whatever chest, like say chest day, we would go and we would do maybe 20-30 minutes of just dumbbell work. So one day we were finished a regular workout, me and Brandon went over, and I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to see how, because he would never let me leave before or leave after him. He would always have to be the last one walking down the stairs. So I said, well, I'm just going to see how long he'll stay. So usually I would just say, hey, I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you later. I just kept going. So we did about 5, 6 sets, and he said, "You ready?" I said, "No, I'm gonna do some more." And he said, "All right." So he just kept going. So we were probably, I'd say, at least an hour after everybody else had cleared out, and I was just, at that point, you couldn't feel anything. It took me a good, I'd say, 4 or 5 days to recover from what we did, and him as well. I mean, we were going heavy as hard as we could, but he would not let me leave after him. He had to be the last one out of the weight room, and and that continued. But not just there, but just he excelled in schoolwork, as you saw. He got his master's before his 5 years was up, so it carried over. The work ethic just carried over into other parts of his life, and it was evident. And that's why we're up here talking about him today.
Clay Henry was on the air on ESPN Arkansas earlier today, and Clay was going to be here today, but his wife had other plans for him today that he had to do. But the one thing Clay talked about, he says, every day that we get to talk about Brandon Burlsworth is a good day. Today is a good day. We live in Harrison. We get to talk about Brandon every day. So it is a good day, and it's good to be able to talk about Brandon. Hubert Loudermilk is with us. Hubert was a wide receiver, and Hubert, you talked a little bit about how Brandon scared you one night because he was working so late.
Yeah, so our coach. Give me a mic to go working.
Here, look.
So our receiver coach, Coach Fitzhill, was kind of like Brandon in a way, military guy, and you don't leave meeting rooms, workouts. We were the first on the field, last off the field. He made that a point. Like, somebody's going to be out here working. We're going to be out here too. They're not going to outwork us, which was very annoying when you've been at practice all day and you're ready to go home, kind of take a shower and get something to eat. So one night we're after practice and we're in film work. Of course, everybody else is already gone. We hear the quarterbacks are next to, or the running backs are next to us. We hear them walking by, talking loud, going out. Quarterbacks are across the hall. We hear them walking loud, talking out. Of course, we looking around like, here we go again. We're going to be here all night. So we finally leave, and you just imagine coming out in a room like this, all the lights are off, and just a few security lights are on, and you hear, hey, 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 hey. So we kind of look around at each other like, man, son, what the heck is that? Like, we thinking, did some animal get in here or something? Like, what is going on? So when we walk out, there's a little railing where you have to kind of go stand and peep over. And we peep over, and here's Brandon just hitting the wall. We're like, Brandon, what are you doing? I gotta get my steps right. We thinking like, man, I'm gonna go home, dude. You gotta get out of here. What are you doing? And he's like, I'm gonna leave in a few minutes. I don't know, Coach, how long he stayed, but we were well known probably before he left out that room down there. And it's just his testament of how hard, even when he was, at this point, he's a starter. He's already got he's a great player. He's working toward being an All-American. But to him, it was, if I didn't do it right, I've got to work my tail off until I felt like I'm going to get it better before the next game. And that was kind of his momentum throughout his whole year there, is like, how hard can y'all work? And I'll tell Marty this. I don't know if I've seen that Tennessee game more, probably in, I don't know how long ago it's been, Jodine, 20-something years? 24, 25 years than I've seen probably tonight.
I'll tell you when the anniversary is if you want to know.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow, 25 years.
25
That's why it's airing tomorrow night.
25 years, I have not seen that video as much as tonight, and probably a few weeks ago, Bo, when we did Coach Nutt's deal, was kind of the first time, because 25 years ago, we only watched the first half of the film, and Coach Hill said, all right, shut it off, throw it away, we're never watching it again. So I never, at that point, even when they would play the game replays, I'd watch halftime, turn the TV, watch something else.
I thought Grant was going to turn around and punch me after the fifth fumble. I'm not kidding. You had your hand, you were surrendered. Like, you did not want to see that
I want to tell
anymore.
my wife, Dory, see, Milk holds on to it too. I'm not the only one. She thought I was weird because I'm like, I don't watch that game. She's like, watching on SEC Classics.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll go in the other room and watch something else. Y'all can watch it.
Well, I tell you what, growing up a big Razorback fan, there's a lot of people in this room. I can tell you exactly where I was when that happened. And, it's just one of those things that you don't forget.
Never. I actually came off the field to play before, and Coach Nutt says, "Hey," or Coach Hill says, "Hey, we're going to try to run the clock out. We're done." So I'm unbuckling my shoulder pads. I took off my helmet. I'm really ready to kind of party. I'm ready to get this thing jumping. Like it's going to be a good time. And so I'm watching the play, thinking, I found my parents in the stands, and hi to them, how y'all doing? And as I'm watching the play, and I see the fumble, and I can you could have heard a pin drop on the Arkansas side.
Oh, I bet.
But it's probably the loudest stadium I've ever heard in a stadium when they erupted after that fumble. It's still a sick feeling. So, thank you for showing it so many times.
Talk about Burrows.
Yeah. So,
Hey.
we got all Burrows. I
Let's
apologize.
talk about Burrows.
I apologize. So, I will say one quick story.
Oh, you go right ahead.
I ran a reverse, and Burrows missed the block. And I was already past him. I was already gone at the time. No, I'm sorry, man. I missed the block. I'm like, what? I missed the block. I'm sorry. I was like, Burrows, I'm gone. I don't. That guy could have never gotten me, man. I was already past him. But to his point was, if I made a mistake, I'm on up to it, and I'm going to work hard to fix it. And I've never met a guy that just every day of his life. I met two guys in college that were probably the best guys I've ever met in my life. Burroughs and Brandon and Deron Moss. And it just shows for all of us to still be here. I get Marty's text to come to the camps, and I'm getting old, Marty, but I still love it.
Jody, tell me a little bit about, you're playing Auburn in 1998. There's a TV timeout, and I understand that there's some Auburn defensive linemen that started kind of smack-talking you guys a little bit.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite Burrows stories, and we're all involved. Because we're in the huddle, we're looking at the defensive line like we're looking at y'all. We're looking back, the football's right there. I think the first series after the TV timeout. These two defensive linemen, they're really good first-round draft picks. Well, I think Burles is right here, Grant's here, Russ is here, Abbo, and I'm behind, looking over and like, all right, they're talking to Burles. Nice classes. You're carried. Hey, we're number one draft picks. You're not. All right? Of course, they're saying it a little bit lively, but there's kids over here, and my wife's up there, and a lot of women in here. So I can't really say what they were saying, but you can imagine, of course, this guy was giving it right back to him. Burles, he just looked at him like this, not say a word. So we go on halftime, we're up, third quarter we're up, fourth quarter, it's a timeout, TV timeout, we're all standing there. Those guys are on a knee. We're back there standing like this, we're ahead. They're on a knee, both of them. Grass, down their back, on the back, backside. But hey, you guys not talking now, why not? You wore out? They just sit there, they didn't say nothing. Burles goes on his way. Favorite story, best story, had to be there. This guy helped out.
Grant, you first met Brandon at the Arkansas High School All-Star Game. What did you think about him walking on at U of A?
Well, we went to spend a week at UCA's campus and practice before the game was played, and we got there on a Sunday and we're practicing on a Monday, And we come out of the lunch hall, and I see this guy sitting on this little short brick wall. He's all by himself, and I thought, well, I'll go over and say hi to him. And of course, it was Brandon, and we had played against each other in high school. I played at Lake Hamilton, of course he played here. We had one of the wettest games I've ever played in Harrison, Arkansas. They couldn't put the ball on the ground because it would float away. That's how much water was on the field. So Brandon and I played against each other in high school, even though we didn't know each other. But I recognized he was from Harrison. He was by himself. So I just, after lunch, I went over and sat down next to him and introduced myself, and we just started talking. And I said, well, are you going to play ball somewhere? And he said, well, yeah, I'm going to Arkansas. And I said, are you scholarship? He said, no, I'm going to walk on. And I can remember saying to myself, that guy will never play it down. Because I practiced with him already for a day, and he wasn't very impressive. And I just didn't give him much of a chance, you know. And the first time I saw the movie Greater, I was sitting in the theater next to Barbara, his mom, and I never knew the sacrifices that the family made for him to get 1 year at the University of Arkansas. And with tears running down my cheeks, I leaned over to Barbara. I said, I never knew the chance that he took. I never knew the sacrifices that the family made just to give him a shot. And if I had one message for you tonight, young or old, is you can do anything that you're willing to work hard enough to do. I mean, how many of y'all like being told you can't do something? Right? Brandon was told that he'd never play high school football. Brandon was told he would never play Division I football. Brandon was told he should take a scholarship to Arkansas Tech by his own family, by some of his own coaches, by a lot of his friends. And Brandon knew what he was supposed to do. He knew that if he worked hard enough, he could do it. The movie Greater is a great film. It's 2 hours long. You see him go from a fat kid to an All-American. We got to see it happen in 5 years. The first semester at Arkansas, I don't remember Brandon Burlsworth. He was invisible because he was going from 310 pounds down to 250 pounds. He was losing weight. I was trying to gain weight. Chad was trying to gain weight. He wasn't a factor. Going into spring football, he's standing right beside us, and he's getting as many reps as we are. And you're like, man, who's this guy? Where'd he come from? Well, he's been here all year. He's a completely different person, and he never listened to any of the people that told him he couldn't do it. And there were a lot of those people back then, and I was one of them. I never told him he couldn't do it. I just thought it. I thought, man, this guy's wasting his time. And he kept his nose down. He went to work every day for 5 years. The stories that Chad and Milk and Jodine have told about him, those are just a few of the stories that you could tell about Brandon. He had a dream, and he was not going to be denied. And I would encourage anybody in this theater that if you have a dream, if you're willing to pay the price, if you're willing to sacrifice, if you're willing to forego all the other stuff that your friends are chasing, to chase your dream, nothing can stop you from getting there. Brandon is living proof of that. And I didn't know it then, but seeing it now and being a small part of his story is just very, very grateful for that chance.
With that, I want to move on to Coach Tice, because when Grant came up here, was that one of the times that we watered the field?
Yeah, we watered it a lot, and it came a 6-inch rainstorm.
Yeah, I remember.
He's right, the ball floated off, but I'll tell you one thing about that game. You ought to know better to play somebody that's got Lake in their name, in a 6-inch rain, because, and they were great. And, I want to say one thing about these guys, because Brandon lives on through them.
Yes.
Every summer, they come back. 2 days. They pay their own way. Not just them, but a lot of others. And I've grown close to each and every one of them. And I get to coach the Razorbacks for 2 days. Yeah. But one thing I'd share about Brandon, and some have heard me tell this story, but I like to tell it because he's sitting in my living room and I'm asking him about them stupid glasses. Why'd you get those glasses? They feel good on my head. I said, no. I said, there's got to be more to this than that. I said, you sure it's not like Thomas Lott and that bandana? You're not doing it for pub? No, Coach, I wouldn't do anything like that. So we talked a while. We talked about his goals. And I said, what's your goal this year? It's going to be a senior. I want to be an All-American. So if you look at those glasses, the real glasses, etched in the nose piece, made by the company, All-American. He kept that goal in front of his nose every day that he practiced and every day that he played. And he always said, Coach, goals are only dreams unless you write them down and put them somewhere that you can see them every day. And I've never forgot that. I've tried to put that out there to anybody that was within earshot of my voice. And I tell you what, as I watched the Goblins play Friday night, it is tough. We still play with that same desire, that same effort, and we still play with that same class. That was modeled for us and showed us how to do it by a kid that grew up on Cherry Street. Thank you.
You know, Vickie, I wanna ask you, you know, one thing Grant talked about is, you know, Brandon, when he set his mind to something, he was going to do it. And I know that you can talk a little bit about that.
When I got the family, Brandon was 4, so he was just a spoiled kid. And so whatever he set his mind to, at that point, wasn't necessarily the best thing. So, but I got to be there to witness him mature and grow in his faith and then see the Razorbacks, and he just was enjoyable. He was a big, sweet teddy bear, kind of. He'd get embarrassed. He was funny. He wanted to eat all the time, from 4 years old on to when he was the 20s. So it was he was just a good kid. He was enjoyable, lovable. We were a very, very tight family. He was always there for everything. But he did. He set goals, and then he was going to achieve them. And he did it in the right way. You didn't hear a lot of talk out of Brandon. He was going to do the right thing, but he was going to do it for the right reasons. And that was his faith. And really, without the faith in Brandon and our family and our foundation, you don't have anything. And so that's got to be, you got to find some foundation for you guys when you're just starting out.
Kevin Trainor is with us. Dean Weber was going to be here, but he wasn't able to make it tonight. So, Kevin, how long have you been at the U of A?
Well, you know, when I got to the U of A, I thought Dean Weber had been there a long time. And now I've been there a long time. Year 29 full-time, over 30.
So you were around all these guys here. So talk a little bit about, you know, that team and Brandon.
Well, speaking of Dean, and he sends his regards, and you saw on the film just what these guys meant to Dean. He's seen team after team, year after year, and there are a lot of special Razorbacks that have come through our program. But you saw the emotion. You saw the emotion when he was talking about Brandon, about Clint, about this team. And, you know, those are the things I think back of now. When you're going through those moments, you're living day to day. You're living moment to moment, game to game. And you don't think, hey, this game or this season will help define the rest of our lives. But when you get further on, you realize that it wasn't the actual game, it was the moments. I remember, certainly you always remember the wins, the championships, but that Tennessee game is a defining moment in my mind, not because of the outcome of the game, but because of the character shown, not just by Clint. I think one of the most courageous things I've ever seen in my career is Clint and Brandon and these guys to my right, sitting in front of the media, I often tell people, when you criticize someone after a game, or think about one of the worst days of your life, one of the biggest struggles, and 5 minutes after that disappointment, they're sticking a microphone in your face. How are you going to handle yourselves? And that night, I saw the character of Brandon, I saw the character of Clint, I saw the character of these guys, and it is not a surprise in any way to me that they are all successful in life, that they're successful, that they're friends, that these moments have bonded them together, because sometimes life gives you moments that are not joyous, but it bonds you together and teaches you more than it does when you're winning. And I think Brandon embraced that, these guys embraced that, and not only is it a legacy that lives on in Razorback football history, but it's something that means so much to me and to anyone who had a chance to be a part of it.
That's great. And I tell you, we got somebody that we want to bring on now. If you'll look up at the screen, we've got a guy coming on that caught the pass in 1999 when they defeated Tennessee. And Anthony Lucas is with us. Hi, Anthony.
How are you guys doing?
All right. We're doing great. I know that you're getting ready for a ball game. Anthony's the head coach at Pulaski Academy, and there's a ball game coming up Friday. But we've just kind of been visiting about Brandon and the 98 team, the 99 team. But tell us maybe a favorite memory that you have of Brandon.
One of my favorite ones was one night, our freshman year. Marvin Caston and I were Brandon and Todd Latteret's suite mate. And, we didn't have a computer, so we wanted to go next door to Brandon's room because he had a computer and we had to type up a paper. And so we went over and, we sat down. I actually sat on Marvin. I think Marvin was working on the computer first, excuse me. And then I got up. I was sitting on his bed, and I got up, and immediately Brandon came over and straightened up the bed, straightened up the sheets on the bed, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." Another time we went to the room and kind of moved his books around and his laptop around on the desk, and just did it and just kind of continued conversation. And he came right behind us and straightened it up. And that was the type of person that Brandon was. He wanted everything. He had a certain way that he had wanted his room to be, a certain way he played, a certain way he practiced. He did everything right. And man, just a special guy, and who has left his legacy here in a world, should I say, not just in Arkansas, but all over the world. So, yes.
Anthony, talk a little bit about the catch from Sterner in 1999 when you guys defeated Tennessee.
Oh, it was huge. It was big. That was like a burden lift off of Clint's back. He had to carry that for an entire year, and making that catch was huge. It was huge, not just for him, but just for all of us, man. I was so shocked and stunned, after I made that catch, and of course the place went crazy. Razorback Stadium, it was crazy. I mean, so many emotions and just a lot going on. But it was a special time because, we knew we had Tennessee beat the year before that, and we wanted to prove something a year later. And the craziest thing about that is that we won that game in 99, with the exact same score that we lost it a year earlier. So it's crazy how God works.
It is, and I tell you what, Anthony, thanks for being with us tonight. We appreciate your time, and good luck Friday night.
Hey, thank you all so much. I appreciate all those guys out there talking in the background. You guys are awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And Marty, tell us a little bit about how important it is to have this night tonight, and that we can have it here in Harrison, because if Brandon was here, he'd still be on Cherry Street, and he would want to be a part of this.
Absolutely. I mean, this would have been easy to have in Fayetteville, Arkansas. This would have been easy to have it on campus, University of Arkansas. And that's important to us too, and it was important to Brandon. But Harrison was his hometown, and this is where he was proud to be from. When we're proud of our town, we're all proud of our town. Harrison is a great place, and I think it's just a tremendous thing that we're going to be on the national stage, and people are going to know the truth about Harrison, Arkansas, and how great a town it is. I know Brandon was very proud to be from here. One funny story, in the media guide every year, there'd be questions, sometimes silly questions about one question was, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live? This is for the players in the media guide. Some said, Miami, Bahamas, Hawaii. I'd probably say Hawaii. Brandon said Harrison, Arkansas, because it's a great place to live. And that just says a lot about our town, and that we're so proud to have this, not only this event here, but also that we're going to be showcased on the SEC Network tomorrow night nationwide.
Nationwide, but it started right here in Harrison. We've got another special guest. You might know this guy. I'm not real sure, but Coach Houston Nutt is with us. Coach Nutt, good to see you.
Good to see y'all.
I know you've had a busy day. You were at a touchdown club in Birmingham, Alabama earlier today, but I know that they were even asking about Brandon down there.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. First of all, I want to say Harrison, Arkansas, also one of my favorite towns. I love Harrison. And I tell you, Tommy Tice also. Tommy Tice is a great friend, a great high school coach. Always appreciate his support. And of course, Brandon's mother was always so sweet and supportive. Marty, Vickie. So I tell you, I just love Harrison. Always love coming through there. But the people are great. And you're exactly right. Today, there's several people that asked me about Brandon Burlsworth.
Well, it's a great day, and this is going to premiere tomorrow nationwide. But it was great to be able to watch it tonight here in Harrison, Brandon's hometown. But you played a big part in his life, and I know he came to you, and he did not want you to start over. He was ready to win right then. So why don't you talk about that and just a little bit about the team and how all that took place.
Well, first and foremost, it was just an honor and a privilege to be the coach of the Razorbacks. But what I didn't know, what I didn't realize is, especially all those guys sitting on that stage, this group was special, really special group, especially those juniors and seniors. They had a tremendous heart. And I remember after the very first meeting, I was trying to get to know everybody. They're trying to figure me out. And Brandon hung around after one of the first, I don't know if it's the second or third meeting, kind of hung around and let everybody go, leave the room. And he said, "Hey, Coach, hey, I just want you to know that these guys will do anything for the staff, for their teammates. They're going to work extremely hard. And I just want you not to use the word rebuild. Don't have many months right here at the University of Arkansas left. And we want to be a part of something that's special and very good right now." And so that sent a real message. And I told the staff, I said, "Guys, we got some guys now that are going to hang on to every word." These guys were tough. Danny Ford recruits a lot of good players, and these guys were tough. They hadn't had much success, but man, the listening skills. And if you notice, all those guys in those classes they're successful now. And because of work ethic, because of attitude, because of a do-right attitude, even when nobody was looking, all these guys had that quality, and so did Brandon Burlsworth. So it sent a real clear message to me is, hey, Coach, we want to win, and show us the plan, and we'll follow it.
Coach, after that devastating loss in Tennessee, and then to come back the next year and to, the redemption. What was that like?
Well, that first one was tough because we were on the road. This team took off, 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, and I don't know what we were going in Knoxville, but we had a lot of confidence. We really outplayed them in 58 minutes. And so, in my mind, there's about 4 or 5 things that happened that on that rainy night. But we had that 100,000 Coliseum Stadium real quiet, and so that was devastating. But what I love about our team after the game, there was never any this. Everybody was pointing the finger back at themselves. And that's what I love about this team. And boy, they had tremendous heart, so unselfish. And the 28-24, that was devastating. And they got us right there at the end. But what was so rewarding was that same score, 28-24, back in Fayetteville. That same exact score was one of the greatest feelings that I still think about to this day. What I miss so much, I've been I hadn't had a team in 12 years, and what I miss so much is just times like that and that celebrated locker room, tearing down that goalpost. And to this day, I had people come up to me in the airport, Coach, I was there, I helped tore down that goalpost, and I walked it to Dixon, and I hear all these stories, and I think about all those players that made that happen that day in front of a packed Razorback stadium. So it was a great turnaround and a great feeling to win that game.
Coach, folks here would kind of like to know what all you got going on these days. What are you doing these days?
I've been going to CBS for the last 12 years, and that means leaving Dallas and flying to New York 21 straight weeks. Leave Thursday, come back Sunday. But I tell you, I have 2 grandsons now, 2 years of age and 8 months, 2 boys, and I see what all the fuss is about with those grandchildren. If I'd known that, I'd done the grandchildren first. Man, unbelievable. So they live in Rogers, and so it's like every 10 days I go to Rogers. And but I speak every Monday to either quarterback groups or corporate groups, and I do a couple of segments of radio. But other than that, on weekends, instead of going to New York, I got my popcorn, Coca-Cola, and Reese's and peanut M&Ms, watching football.
I tell you what, Coach, we've got some players out here in the audience and some young people. What would you say to them and and some of the life that Brandon brought to everyone, and what would you say for them to have some of the characteristics that Brandon had?
It's real simple. I would encourage all the young athletes, young players, and even students that live, especially in Harrison, really go back and read Brandon. And I can tell you, I only had the privilege to coach him 1 year. But his attitude and work ethic was absolutely top notch. And his teammates would tell you, he didn't say much, and he may say, how bad do you want it ever so often. And, he did so many good things, little things, and that turned into big things. And, he had a dream to play on the Division I level. And, again, I didn't get to recruit him. But listen to Tommy Tice and listening to Marty and, the story about him, having to really work hard in high school. He had a dream to go to play for the Arkansas Razorbacks. And so I would tell the young people to dream your dreams, go by your heart's desire. And along with that, do it the Brandon Burlsworth way, which is great work ethic, great attitude. He had a kind heart, but make no mistake now, when he got in between those white lines, now there was a different person, and he may knock you down. He may help you back up, but get ready, because in between that next whistle, he's going to knock you down again. And so what I mean by that, he played hard. He ran the race extremely hard. Never took a lazy step. And it was just a privilege to coach that 98 team, and a privilege to be around Brandon. Grant will tell you, and Russ will tell you, I think Chad, Abernathy, and Bobby, all the guys would tell you, I made a mistake one time. We broke out some red pants, and I asked Grant, I said, what's the deal with Brandon? And he said, Coach, you probably should have told him. His life was always in order. If you looked at his locker, we still have his locker there in Fayetteville. everything was in his shoes where they're supposed to be. Sometimes lockers are not too, nice. They're messy. But if you look at his locker, it was in order. And so when we changed up, all of a sudden, it's like, Coach, you probably should have gave him a little warning on that deal. He likes to know what's coming around the corner. And so I was trying to hey, this is going to be great. We got something new. But he didn't take it that way because he had everything. He was planning everything. And so I just love the way he was. And then he broke out these on me one day. And I had to ask his teammates, I couldn't figure this out. Wait a minute, Brad, what are we doing? And he said, hey, Coach, I got to have glasses to see. These black rim glasses, underneath that helmet was quite a sight. It was an unbelievable sight. And, but boy, I tell you, it goes back to those same characteristics. Boy, he was trustable. He was so committed. He cared about his teammates. And so many times, I would see him do little things. There's one night in that indoor arena where he was there just working on steps one night, very late at night, just by himself, because he didn't feel good about that practice that day or the day before. And so he got out of that apartment and started working on just footwork to go over the little bitty things of a power or counter. And so I just, I have so much respect for that. But the biggest thing is, he's such a fine Christian man, and he did things the right way. And so just proud to be able to know Brandon and what he stands for.
Thank you so much for taking time tonight to be with us, and we appreciate it. Everybody, Coach Houston Nutt. Coach Tice, he brought up something that I want to ask you about. Talked about how, he never went up against Brandon, trying to block him. I understand one day you did that.
He ended my playing career. In the old days, I might show a player how to perform a certain technique. And one day I was with the defensive lineman, and the young man was not really doing what he should do. So I grabbed the helmet from a little old sophomore and put it on. I was going to show him how to perform this technique. Unfortunately for me, the person next in line was Brandon. And, usually when I performed a technique, the person would let me do it. And I thought, well, maybe Brandon will let me be the victor, like so many others had. That was not the case. So we got down there, and I'm lined up across from him. Somebody said the magic word, which is usually hut. And those two screws in Brandon Burlsworth's helmet hit me right between the eyes. And I went completely head over heels backwards. And bells were ringing and birds were singing. And I knew I had to get up. I'm the coach. I've got to get up. I finally get to my feet, tear that helmet off, and throw it to that young man I got it from. And I said, turned to Burlsworth, and I said, don't make me ever have to show you how to do that again. Now, to Brandon's credit, he did come by and check on me after practice.
I love that story. I've heard that story before, and Coach just set that up perfectly. But Marty, I just want to ask you, is there anything else that you would like to say tonight?
Well, I do want to very briefly thank our boys for being here tonight. Aaron and Brady there in the booth, and Jodan running the video camera. Guys, they've come in from Pine Bluff, Tulsa, and Columbia, Missouri to be here with us tonight. So, and Rachel, there's Rachel, thank you, sweetie. I just want to thank everyone for being here, and I want to thank all you guys for coming over and doing this with us. This means a lot to us. You guys lived it. We were all there together. You guys were really in it, And this means I've heard from ESPN tonight during the filming, and they've asked for pictures and videos of tonight. So they were more than happy to let us have this film a day early. So we're thankful to them, and we just want to thank everyone for being here tonight.
Yes, we want to thank all you folks for being here. Thank you for being here. And we hope that you have a great night. And watch it again tomorrow night on SEC at 8 o'clock Eastern. Thank you.